to the How to Play video for Philosophia Floating World. Today I'm going to teach you how to get started on the game as quickly as possible, and I'm going to be teaching you the turn-taking variant, which we recommend for your first game. To set up a game of Philosophia Floating World, follow these steps. First of all, place the game board out with the correct side for your number of players. This is indicated at the bottom of the board. In this example, I'll be setting up for a 2-player game. Choose a player board and place it on the A side, which you can see in the top left corner. If playing with 3 or less players, first remove these location tokens before you start the game. Takamatsu, Hakodate, Oki, Matsue, Aso, Asama and Nagoya. Place the location tokens face down next to the board. Players take 2 location tokens each, and then they place one face down onto the search icon on their player board. This indicates their secret location, and the other goes onto the move icon on their player board. This is their decoy location. Place the time tokens, coins and builders near the board in reach of all players, and this is known as the general supply. Choose a character and take the character card using the side marked A. You will also need the starting 12 season cards denoted by the icon in the bottom centre and the corresponding character miniature. Place the miniature into the starting location for that character, which can be seen on the character's card. Take the Kamon token that corresponds to your character and place it onto the influence track in the top right of the main board. The player with the highest number on their character card starts at the top of the track, and so on, until all players have placed their Kamon tokens. Shuffle your starting location cards and place them face down to the left of your player board to create your draw deck. Remove the starting season cards for unused players and shuffle the remaining season cards into a deck. Take out the top 5 cards and then place them face up next to the game board. Shuffle the item deck, then place it onto its location in the bottom of the main board. Turn over the top 4 cards to complete the shop track. Place the boat tokens onto the main board in their designated space. Shuffle the monster cards and place them onto the main board in their location. Shuffle the wisdom cards and place the deck onto its location on the main board. Turn over the top 3 cards and place them upright in the spaces to the right, with the 3rd card face up on top of the deck. Place the Ganbaru tokens onto their location on the main board. You only need 1 per player. Give each player 3 Shinto shrine meeples and 1 pagoda token. Place these onto your player board. How do you win? In Philosophia Floating World, you are aiming to gain a victory condition, and this can be done by gaining the 4 Ganbaru tokens. Bushido for successfully killing a monster, Chie for gaining all 4 types of wisdom card, Shinto for building 3 Shinto shrines, and Zen for building a pagoda. Alternatively, you can also gain a victory condition by completing any 2 of these and discovering another player's secret location. Gameplay runs in rounds made up of 3 phases: the draw phase, collect phase, and the action phase. These rounds repeat until a player gains a victory condition. When this happens, the current round is completed and then the game ends. In the draw phase, draw 6 cards from your draw deck and hand them to the player on your left. You then take those that are passed to you. Discard 1 onto their discard pile and then separate the remaining 5 into 2 piles, containing 2 and 3 cards each. Give these back to the player to your right. You receive 2 piles of your cards from the player to your left. Choose 1 pile to play this round and discard the other. You are now ready to move on to the collect phase, and you can do this immediately. If you ever run out of cards in your draw deck, shuffle your discard deck and it becomes your draw deck. During the collect phase, you collect the tools you will need to win the game. Look at the season cards in your hand. The icons in the bottom left of your card indicate what you can gain. This icon indicates that you draw an extra card or cards from your draw deck to add to your hand. You do this first before collecting any other items. You have a maximum hand size of 6 cards, so if you draw more than 6, you need to discard down to 6 cards. These icons indicate that you should collect items from the general supply. Collect 1 coin for each of these icons, 1 time token for each of these, and 1 builder for each of these. You can't have more than 4 builders at any one time. This icon indicates you gain a coin for each wisdom card you possess. Wisdom cards will be explained later. When you have finished the collect phase, wait until all players are ready to move on to the action phase. Starting with the player with the teapot token and moving clockwise, each player performs 1 action or pass until all players have passed. Once you pass, you cannot perform further actions. Actions can be performed in 3 ways. The most common is that you have a card in your hand that allows it. The icons in the bottom right of season cards are actions. Simply discard the card to perform the action. The second method to perform the actions is to place a time token onto your player board. Your player board has a series of actions on it, some of which are covered by location tokens or Ganbaru tokens. You can place time tokens onto the uncovered spaces to perform the action in the action phase. You may only place a maximum of 1 time token onto each uncovered action, and then, to perform the action in the action phase, simply remove the token, place it into the general supply, and then perform the action. The final method to perform actions is located on the main board, to perform the battle monster action, and this is explained later. Study action. Take this action to gain wisdom cards. Take the card in the furthest right spot of the wisdom track, then replenish the track. There are 4 types of wisdom card, and gaining all 4 will get you the Chie Ganbaru token, which you place on an uncovered action space on your player board. As with all Ganbaru tokens, this will block that spot from being used in future rounds by placing tokens onto it, so choose carefully. Although it is still possible to perform the action if it appears in your hand of cards. Buy card. Use this action to add a season card to your own deck. Pay the cost in the top left-hand corner of the card, then add it to your discard deck. Replace the season card with a new one after you complete this action. Some season cards are landscape. This means you take the action, but then you don't discard it. This means you can use their benefit once per round. To remember this, flip the card after taking the action, but don't forget to flip it back at the end of the action phase. Burn card. Use this action to trim down your deck. You may remove a card from your hand or your discard deck, then place it back to the game box. Flip location token. Take this action to narrow down the possibilities of your opponent's secret location. Flip one of the location discs set aside during setup and place it into its corresponding location on the main board. Collect a coin each time you perform this action, even if there are no locations left to flip. Move. You may move your character along these lines on the main board. You may move as many spaces as there are red arrows on your move icon. This allows you to move up to 2 spaces, and this 3. Only 1 player can be in each location at any one time. However, you are free to move through locations containing other players. If you wish to move into a location that contains another player, then you must ask their permission to switch places. This means that you move into their location and they move into the location in which you started the move action. If they do not wish to switch voluntarily, then an influence contest is initiated. Whichever player is higher on the influence track gets their way, but then they have to move to the bottom of the track and all other players move up. Shop action. Take this action to buy powerful items from the shop. To buy one, you must pay the required costs to the general supply. The cost is indicated by the number of coins above the item you wish to buy on the shop track. Once you've paid this cost, take the card and then move all items to the left of the one you purchased, 1 space to the right. Replace the now empty 4 coin space. Item cards have unique abilities, and these are explained on the cards. This is also where you can buy the weapons needed to defeat the monsters. Instead of buying item cards, you can also use the shop action to buy builders for 1 coin and 1 time token, or boat tokens for 2 coins. Boat tokens can be discarded as an action to let you move to any location on the map. following the same move rules as mentioned before. You can only buy one item, builder, or boat token in the shop for each time you take the shop action. Battle Monster. This is the only action that does not appear on a card or on your player board. You take this action by moving to one of the two specific locations on the main board. When you are in one of the locations, you may take the Battle Monster action once per round. To do this, take the top card from the monster deck, look at the requirements needed to defeat that monster listed on the bottom of the card. If you have these items, then discard the monster card to the box, return the required items to the general supply or the bottom of the item deck in the case of weapons, and take the Bushido Ganbaru token onto an uncovered action on your own player board. Build. 2 of the Ganbaru tokens are gained by building. To build, you simply need to have the required items to build a structure, then you take the build action to build it. The 2 structures you can build are Shinto shrines and pagodas. Shinto shrines can be built in your current location, as long as there is not a shrine already there. Pay a Shinto wisdom card to the bottom of the wisdom deck and a builder to the general supply. Then take one of the 3 Shinto meeples from your player board and place it into your current location. On building your 3rd shrine, you are eligible for the Shinto Ganbaru token, and this is placed onto your player board in the usual way. But be aware that you cannot build the Shinto shrines in the Battle Monster locations. Pagoda. Pagodas are more expensive. They will cost you 2 Buddhism wisdom cards, 2 coins, 2 time tokens, and 2 builders. Pay this hefty cost, then place your pagoda in any of the empty pagoda spaces on the main board. Pagodas can be built from any location. Once you build a pagoda, collect the Zen Ganbaru token and place it onto your player board. Search. The search action is the most powerful in the game and is used to discover your opponent's secret location. Take this action to search your current location. If it is the secret location of your opponent, then they must remove it from their player board and put it into its corresponding place on the main board. You then gain a secret location token and place it onto your player board, covering an action space. Be aware that players also each have a decoy location, and if you search this location, then you must take that decoy location token and place it face up onto your own player board, covering an action space. This blocks you from using that action space, but also frees up an action space for your opponent, so search carefully. Similarly, if an opponent finds your secret location, then it will uncover the search action from your player board. Festival. Move the festival location token to your current location. The festival has 2 effects. First, it is not permitted to perform the search action in a location where the festival is being held. And second, when you are in the festival location, you may exchange coins for time tokens and vice versa. You may do this at any point during the game, as long as your character is currently in the festival location. And that's all the actions. At the end of the action phase, check to see if anyone has gained a victory condition. If not, then pass the teapot token to the left and then start the new draw phase. If someone does have a victory condition, then this is the end of the game and they are declared the winner. If more than one player has a victory condition, then the player who is highest on the influence track wins. And that's everything you need to know in order to play Philosophia Floating World.